Hello again, dear ones. It is always wonderful to be with you. And this Sunday, we begin a new series. It's a new month. It's a whole lot of newness going on, actually. And somewhere along the line, in my mutterings and my musings and my ponderings,
Mhm.
the theme for the month came forward. It's the days in between. We're at the height of summer. We're not really sure if the days are getting longer or getting shorter. It's summertime, and it would be easy to jump on a rant about Ella Fitzgerald and how the summertime and the living is easy. But the truth is, for many right now, the living isn't easy. You know, I believe you know that I am involved in a lot of very growth-oriented questions. And I've shared with you previously one of my favorite quotes: the quality of your life is directly proportional to the quality of your questions. And if you remember me ever saying that, give me a nod. Let me know, yes, I don't have to tell that whole story. Yeah, I'm seeing thumbs up. That means I don't have to go down that line of thinking. You guys already get that. The quality of our lives is directly proportional to the quality of our questions. But what happens if we stop asking questions? I ran into a conversation this past week with people that, for the most part, I believe, are really focused on how to share the message of new thought in new ways, in transformative ways, in ways that people can hear, and in ways that people can see, and in ways that perhaps uh, take us a little bit beyond the normal or the everyday. And every so often you run into someone that, nope, nope, not doing that, not going there, we can't do that. We must remain true to the simple principle that God is all there is. Period, hard stop, end of story, no contemplation really allowed. And as this is a body of fairly learned individuals, I believe, when it comes to topics such as New Thought and metaphysics and the science of mind and unity and divine science and all the wondrous blend that we are, that for me causes a little bit of a stir. Enough of a stir that I wrote a Substack post about it, an article about it, and that'll come out on Tuesday. I have learned that when something pushes my buttons, well, sit on it for a couple of days before you blow up in front of everybody. And I actually, interestingly enough, was able to witness one of the participants in this conversation sharing a little bit of their perspective of this whole thing in their Sunday message about, oh, not quite an hour ago. Adds a new twist to how we learn and grow together. But if you walk away with anything today, walk away with that reminder that if something pushes a button, if something gets me going and I want to tell someone how it is, take a breath or maybe a few thousand. Take a day, take a couple days, sleep on it. These are ancient wisdoms that we sometimes forget in today's hurry up and respond, because if I don't respond now, will my response be valid in 2 or 3 days? Take a breath. Be with the conversation, because what's been going on this week is what I originally was called to say in this conversation has evolved. I've allowed for new insight and I've allowed for new information to come in and to inform what it is I know about what's going on and provide some reminders and to listen to others who share similar perspectives as perhaps my own, but also learn from the nuances of how others share the perspective of those I may not agree with. And no matter what, we all come back to something somewhat similar. And that's this concept of get involved. Because those that want to teach and live just the ideology of it all, God is all there is no evil, there is no nothing, and I'm going to sit here until everything that around me appears to be perfect and whole, and there is no evil, and it is all God, and I'm going to just sit here and be in prayer and be in meditation, and the more people I can raise in meditation, so be it, but I'm just going to do me. I think we've evolved beyond that. And that is not to say that that is not valid. Because what I learned in spiral dynamics, in my study of spiral dynamics, and it's amazing because we live so close to the very center of such amazing consciousness thought in Boulder Valley. Um, I'm kind of bummed because I've been recently invited to an event that happens once a year, and it's not a hard event to get an invitation to, but you got to be kind of in the conversation to get an invitation to this event where a lot of people in the spiral dynamics field. And that's where we first met John Mackey from Whole Foods, was at this party. Um, a lot of people that think deeply show up to this thing. I'm going to be out of town. I'm not going to make it. But I'm confident that the thought will continue, that those conversations continue. And it was in that circle of Boulder integral theory and integral new thought where I first remember being introduced to that concept of evolve, transcend, but include. As the movement of new thought continues its necessary evolution, we are transcending some of the old ways of being. But we also have to offer that hand that says, but we include everything that came before this, even if it doesn't work for us anymore. We include that it's part of God. We include that it is part of the oneness. We include that it was necessary to get us to where we are. But I like to look at where are we and where are we going? And the rally cry that I continue to hear again and again and again and again and again is get involved. I'm going to paraphrase badly because I love doing that sometimes. There's a quote that says, if you can fly, fly. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But move. Move yourself. I believe New Thought as a movement, and that means the body of New Thought. That means the organizations that comprise the greater New Thought movement, the people that comprise those organizations, both at the individual, the national, and the local level. We are part of that, is my point, whether we want to or not. And if we don't want to be, and we just want to be Episcopalians, then hey, we can go do that, and that's cool. That's a joke. Um, I'm not going to go be an Episcopalian with you. I'm sorry. It just doesn't quite fit for me. It does for some. If you as an individual want to be in the camp and in that aspect of the oneness that says there is nothing other than God and I will entertain no other thoughts, then this is all there is. This is God. This too is perfect. There is no sin. There is no sickness. There is no evil. My only concern there is I don't know I haven't figured out how to do that in 25 years, and I haven't met very many that have. I haven't met very many that have followed that path that have led us to transformation. But I have seen the good works that countless people do in the world by looking at the truth in our face, by admitting that there is this these fluctuations in the force, that there are these anomalies, and that people are hurting. That for many, it is summertime and the living is not easy. The people that are about to lose their SNAP benefits are not looking at life as if the living is easy. Those that are being handcuffed and watching their parents be drug away to detention centers with no idea of where they're going by a bunch of masked goons that appear more like secret police than by an immigration force. This living is not easy right now. And I believe it is metaphysical malpractice to look at those people and say, God is all there is. There's something better happening here for you. I think that's how we drive people away from New Thought, if you ask me. I think that's why, I think that's in some ways why our movement doesn't grow. Because we have people in places that want to sit and anchor us into what was rather than allowing for the both and that says this is what shall be. In this movement, we talk a lot about vision. We talk a lot about having a vision. We talk a lot about the vision we have for a world that works for everyone, of a world that works for all, of peace and prosperity. And oftentimes it seems like we're not willing to share that experience, the real experience of that. My dearly beloved always so often reminds me that we have to make room for the flip side, for not the opposite, the that it what just seems to be opposite. The yes and, the both and. I want all of us to get involved. I want all of us to find our own way and stand up and step in. Step up and stand out. Maybe that means getting on maybe that means getting on your social media and rather than scrolling through what they want you to see, sharing that which you know will bring inspiration and deeper thought to others. Be careful of what you do online, for it is an extension of what you believe. I recently heard Michael Beckwith share in a talk. I was listening to Michael's meditation this morning before we got on, and a couple weeks back he said something in a talk, and what he was saying was, don't let your social media be your journal. Do not journal into the universe that which should be in your private thoughts. That to me is powerful. So we don't tell the world, oh, woe is me, this is my fear. We don't live from that, but we're not denying it in our own way, in ourselves. We're not denying that I have this experience and I want to move beyond it. And if I need help moving beyond that, then, well, we know how to do that. Call a practitioner. Get with a minister, get in a conversation with somebody, and come back to the spiritual truth. We don't have to live in the fear, but we can't deny that there are things that make us fearful. We get involved. We get involved as an organization. We get involved as communities. Yeah, we get involved by bringing our consciousness to a greater understanding of this truth, but we also must, I believe, be involved. Another one of my favorite colleagues, I'm going to say it that way, I guess. Another one of the dearest hearts I know in New Thought responded to this conversation with a deep and vulnerable truth that she has operated in many ways for quite a long time with a belief that we must abide by the rules, we must do it this way, we must all be on one talking point, we must all be talking about the exact same thing, we must. And through time, and this conversation is not the turning point in her evolution, in her thought, but this conversation was the one that brought her to come forward and say, I have let go of the we must. Unless it's individual, we're letting go of the royal we, but we're moving into a community of we. Hear that? You're hearing a lot in New Thought right now about moving from the I to the we, from the me to the we got to be sure it's not a royal we. Because for those that want to, that need to, that are, God is all there is room at the table. And for those that want to get up and march, there is room at the table. For those that not sure where they are and want to be somewhere in between, there is room at the table. I have never been more convinced in my life than I am right now that New Thought is the way forward to change the consciousness of humanity and therefore serve in the upliftment of the consciousness of the entire planet. And we're never going to get there by telling each other we're wrong. We're never going to get there by telling each other you don't get it. You get it. I know you get it. You wouldn't be in the room if you weren't getting it. Now we get to share it too. I have a challenge for you this week. I have this challenge, and it's going to require a pen and a paper, or a pencil and a crayon, or a marker, or a whiteboard, or you can do this on your computer if you'd prefer. I want you to journal about one question for the next week. For the next, well, here's how this is going to work, okay? Because we're having an open mic night next Sunday night, next Sunday afternoon. It is another open mic experience. We're only going to do this for the summer. So this is right. This is the second one. We're going to try this for the summer. In the fall, we're going to go back to a little bit more of our normal thing. We'll talk about that when we get to the fall. But in this summer of vision, we're going to have our open mic night. All submissions are limited to 3 to 5 minutes. I will bring a hook, and we will have to. We didn't warn you last time, Barb, so you're safe. But 3 to 5 minutes uh, in your time frame, and we're going to each, in our own way, answer this question. So for the next 5 days, you got to ponder and write a journal entry on this question. On Saturday, you get to figure out what it all means, and on Sunday, you're going to share it. Now, if that just made your whole body go, "Oh God, no!" Don't worry, you don't actually have to get up and do it in front of a microphone. If you want, you write what you want and you pick which one of us you want to share it. Me, Lara, any of the board members. If you don't want to get up, that's fine. You can have somebody else share it on your behalf. But to I want to infuse this community with this is how we get involved. That's our question. How do I get involved? Don't put a a qualifier on it. Like, don't put how do I get involved in saving the world? Don't how do I get involved with making this church huge and amazing and tons of people? Don't put any qualifiers on it whatsoever. How do I get involved for 5 days? How do I get involved? And this can happen in the morning, that's fine, and that's what would be preferred. That would be the most beneficial, I believe, to for your experience is to do this in the morning and then let that be informed throughout, inform your day and inform how you move forward in your day. And some days it might be this is how I get involved with getting my kids off to school, or this is, sorry, wrong crowd, or this is how I get involved with getting the garden done, or this is how I get involved with making sure my wife doesn't yell at me because I haven't folded my laundry yet, or how this is how I get involved with whatever it is in our lives. But what I am confident of is over the next 5 days, throughout these next 5 days, it will come to you. And you will come to Saturday and you will be able to look back and say, wow, here it is. And you will be able to come to Sunday with no more than 3 to 5 minutes of this is where I want to get involved. This is what I'm here to get involved with. This is how I'm here to be involved. I can't think of a greater opportunity in any of our lifetimes than right now to be involved with the evolution of human consciousness. And that's what we're here about. That's what I've always been taught this philosophy is about. If you're in a safe space to close your eyes, I invite you to please do so. Join me in a consciousness on the knowing that there is a really, truly only one. Yes, we can say that. There is God and nothing else. There is God and God alone. There is only the one. And we know God by many, many names. Allah, Buddha, Brahma, Yahweh, Vishnu, Kuan Yin, Source Energy, Gaia. We know the divine reveals itself in countless ways as love and light, as beauty, as truth, as health and wealth and well-being and abundance and prosperity. We recognize in this moment the divinity of this one God moving through itself, moving as each one of us, and through each one of us, refracting itself, expressing itself in another unique and mysterious and divine way. In all of the universe, God knows there was need of one of you, only one of you. There is no other, and we each are a refraction, an emanation, a vibrational emanation of this one life coming into form in unique and amazing ways. We each bring a unique vision to every day, a unique vision of how to bring this philosophy to life, of how to be this presence in the world. We bring forth this unique vision of how we create a world that works for everyone, of how we create a world that works for all of life. And then we move forward to make that so. We find what is ours to do and say, yes, I shall serve that. It has been said that there is no greater prayer in this universe than yes, I am available. Use me. This is what I am here to do. And this is how I am here to serve. Invite in each one of us that uprising, that uprising of vibrational energy that says, yes, I can see. I see the vision of who I have come here to be on this glorious summer day in the high, cool mountaintops. I see the vision of who I have come here to be. I see the vision and I say yes to making it so. And so it is. So it is.